On our wedding night, my wife was waiting for me in bed, wearing a sexy nightgown she had spent hours choosing. I grabbed my bathrobe and took a quick shower. When I stepped out, I noticed her phone buzzing on the bathroom shelf. Driven by curiosity, I unlocked it. A pinned group chat with 7 members instantly caught my eye. The latest message was a steamy, post-shower photo my wife had sent just 5 minutes ago. Even though I'm married now, you guys are still my babies. Same old rules. Here's a little treat to keep you hooked. The replies beneath were from 6 different young men, their profile pictures oozing smugness as they cheered. Monday, damn Mia, your body keeps getting better and better. Tuesday, Mia always knows how to take care of us. Wednesday, tonight was supposed to be my night with you, Mia. That lucky bastard gets you for cheap tonight. As I scrolled through the disgusting chat history, a wave of dark excitement washed over me. The perfect wife I had handpicked for myself. She really didn't disappoint. I slipped her phone into my pajama pocket and walked back into the bedroom. On our massive king-sized bed, freshly made with luxurious white silk sheets, my wife, Mia, was lying on her side. Her long, slender legs were completely bare. Babe, hurry up. I've been waiting forever. I remained silent, my brows furrowing. Mia didn't notice my mood at all. Instead, she pouted and whined, urging me to get into bed. She looked completely impatient. You know we're married now, right? Get over here. What are you staring at, babe? It's our wedding night. We shouldn't waste a single second. I stared at Mia, the anger inside me ready to boil over. So she didn't know it was our wedding night. Yet she still found the time to send nudes to her group of male models. Mia sat up, her beautiful face instantly twisted with annoyance. Ethan, it's our wedding night. Why are you giving me attitude? You're being so weird. Her shameless gaslighting snapped my last thread of patience. I'm being weird? Then why don't you explain who these guys in your group chat are? And why you just sent them a naked photo of yourself? I pulled her phone from my pocket and threw it onto the bed. Mia froze. Panic washed over her face in an instant. She snatched up the phone and opened Snapchat. Sure enough, the replies from her group chat were staring back at her. Ethan, you went through my phone. She didn't answer my question. Instead, she tried to turn the tables on me. I wanted to laugh. My wife was always like this. The moment she got caught doing something wrong, she would attack the other person to put them on the defensive, as if that magically erased her own guilt. I stared at our framed wedding photo on the nightstand. Right now, that beautiful memory felt like a slap in the face. Everything in this room screamed happily ever after, but I knew it was all a cover-up for something incredibly ugly. Mia, I'm a normal guy. I can't just sit here and let other men drool over my wife's naked body. It's late. We're getting a divorce tomorrow morning. Hearing the word divorce, Mia rushed over and wrapped her arms around me. Bobby, no, we literally just got married today. How can we divorce tomorrow? What will our families and friends think of us? I can explain the group chat. I swear. You know how stressed I've been with the company lately. Last week, I was celebrating my bestie's birthday, and we just added a few of the hot servers for fun. Everything in that chat is just a joke. It means nothing. I've never touched any of them. Please believe me, Ethan. I tried to pry her hands off me, but she held on for dear life. Looking down at her from my height, I saw her beautiful eyes filling with tears. She looked so fragile and pathetic. Is sending naked photos of yourself also a joke? Babe, I was stupid. I lost my head. It's my fault, okay? Please don't leave me. I'll delete the group right now. I'll never talk to them again. She quickly grabbed her phone and left the pinned group chat right in front of me. Ethan, I love you so much. Just forgive me this once. Please don't divorce me, okay? Mia's voice cracked with a sob. She buried her face in my chest. She felt so small, clinging to me like a helpless, guilty kitten. I felt a warm dampness spreading across my chest. Her tears were soaking through my pajamas. I reached out and gently wiped the tears from her face. My anger seemed to soften, and my voice carried a hint of hesitation. All right, Mia. Stop crying. So you won't divorce me? She looked up at me with wide, teary eyes, the perfect calculated angle. I knew exactly what she was doing. She had practiced this look in the mirror 1,000 times. After a long pause, I finally gave her the answer she wanted. Fine. After we both cleaned up, Mia became incredibly eager to make up for lost time. But her plans were ruined when my phone rang. It was a work emergency. Using work as an excuse, I spent the entire night in my study. Mia must have felt guilty. The next morning, I received a notification. She had wired $100,000 into my bank account. Since my wife loved solving her problems by throwing money at me, I was more than happy to accept it. For the next few days, Mia went out of her way to please me. She made breakfast in the mornings and bought me expensive gifts after work. One evening, I came home late after a busy day at work. I walked in to find Mia busy in the kitchen, preparing a massive feast. When she saw me, she gave me a sweet smile and told me to wash my hands for dinner. Normally, the maid handled all the cooking, but to get back in my good graces, she had actually cooked herself. At the dinner table, she kept piling food onto my plate before coyly suggesting we finally consummate our marriage tonight. Babe, don't sleep in the study tonight, okay? I quickly calculated the date in my head and nodded. After dinner, I carried Mia into our bedroom. The room smelled of sweet lavender incense, and the bed was sprinkled with rose petals. Mia had prepared everything to perfection. As things started heating up, I pinned her beneath me. My hand slid down her waist, tracing her curves. Suddenly, my fingers felt a warm, sticky wetness. Mia's period had just started. Realizing what happened, Mia gasped and rushed into the bathroom. A few minutes later, she walked out. She wrapped her slender arms around my neck, her voice dripping with sweet regret. Babe, my period started. I gently stroked her hair, acting disappointed but understanding, and got up to make her some warm chamomile tea to soothe her cramps. In the kitchen, I brewed the tea, poured it into a mug, and slipped a sleeping pill into it. Mia drank the tea and was fast asleep within minutes. After pulling the blanket over her, I quietly picked up her phone from the nightstand. I opened Snapchat. The group chat I had seen before was indeed gone. Aside from my contact pinned at the top as hubby, there were only work messages. I logged into her burner account. Sure enough, the familiar 7-member group chat popped up. The latest message was sent that morning. Mia had sent a quick update to the boys. I'm busy keeping my husband happy right now. But after tonight, Big Sister will be back to play with you boys. My dear wife really couldn't let go of her 6 male models. I put the phone back on the nightstand, pretending I had seen nothing. The next morning, I packed a few clothes and grabbed my suitcase. Mia stopped me at the front door. Babe, why are you packing a bag? I turned to her with a warm smile. I have a new project. I need to go on a week-long business trip. Her eyes filled with sweet, feigned sadness. Make sure to bring me a souvenir when you get back. I'll miss you. I nodded and rolled my suitcase out the door. Oh, I would absolutely bring her a gift. A massive one. After leaving the house, I took an Uber to a luxury hotel. The receptionist asked for my ID to check me in. I pulled out my wallet and handed over my ID. In my rush, an old, faded photograph slipped out with it. The receptionist processed my check-in and handed back my ID along with the photo. You dropped this, sir. I took the photo and gave a polite nod. Thank you. You and the lady in the photo look beautiful together, she smiled. I didn't say anything. I just turned and headed up the elevator. After staying in the hotel for a week, I pulled out a burner phone and sent a message to a contact I had been coordinating with. It's time. Moments later, I opened my laptop. The screen showed a real-time mirror of Mia's Snapchat account. The 7-member group chat was active again. The guy nicknamed Monday started the conversation. Mia, you haven't texted us in a week. Do you really not miss us? Did you forget all about your babies? Mia replied instantly. Of course I miss you guys. You're all my sweet babies. The other guys quickly jumped in. Tuesday, but you haven't sent us any sexy photos lately, let alone met up with us. We feel abandoned. Mia, never. I'll come see you boys tomorrow. Wednesday, but tomorrow is Sunday. Who are you going to see? I thought Sunday was reserved for that loser husband of yours. Mia, my husband is on a business trip. He won't be back anytime soon. Don't worry, I'm all yours tomorrow. Friday, why don't we all meet up together, Mia? If you only choose one of us, the other 5 will be so jealous. Let's do a group hang. A little team building session, if you know what I mean. The group exploded with dirty jokes and excited agreements. Mia finally gave in and shared time and hotel name. It was the exact hotel where I was staying. The next morning at 9, Mia posted a photo of her outfit in the chat. She was wearing a tight, low-cut black dress that left very little to the imagination. Complete with black stockings and red stiletto heels, her seductive figure was on full display. Then, she took a photo of what was inside her purse and sent it. It was 2 boxes of condoms. The group chat went completely wild. Monday, Mia always treats us the best. Tuesday, don't worry, babe. We're gonna make sure you have the night of your life today. Wednesday, I still don't get why you marry that loser. We're your real soulmates. Mia, of course you guys are my real loves. I only married him to keep my mom happy, so she would give me more money to spend on my sweet babies. Mia, but honestly, he's the perfect husband. Even when he caught on, all I had to do was squeeze out a few tears and act cute. The idiot bought it and forgave me instantly. Mia, I knew from day one he was obsessed with me. He's just a pathetic puppy dog. Friday, our Mia is simply irresistible. Friday, Let's not ruin the mood talking about that loser. We're heading to the hotel now. See you soon, babe. 20 minutes later, someone dropped a room number in the chat. Grand Imperial Hotel, room 502. I looked at the room number and smirked. What a coincidence. It was right next door to me. A few minutes later, I heard shuffling noises next door. Then came the clicking of high heels in the hallway. It was Mia. At the door, I heard her giggling and telling them to be patient as she kicked off her stilettos and left them in the hallway. The moment she stepped inside, the room next door erupted in cheers and laughter. I dialed Mia's number. No answer. I tried calling her on Snapchat. It rang, but she didn't pick up. The noises from next door started dying down, turning into low, muffled whispers. I stopped trying to call her. Instead, I scrolled down my contacts and dialed my mother-in-law, Victoria. As soon as she picked up, I gasped into the phone, sounding panicked. Victoria, I think Mia is in serious danger. You need to bring the family and get over here right now. I think she's been kidnapped or blackmailed. She's trapped. Victoria gasped, her voice instantly turning frantic. Ethan, what are you talking about? What happened to Mia? Tell me. There's no time to explain. Just bring everyone who's in town. Hurry. I'm at the Grand Imperial Hotel, room 502. Get here now. I hung up before she could ask another question. I opened my door and stepped into the hallway. Sure enough, Mia's red heels were sitting right outside room 502. My dear wife really couldn't wait. Muffled laughter, moans, and playful screams echoed through the thin door. I could even hear Mia crying out, "Yes, Daddy." Too bad her actual dad had been dead for years. Staring at those red heels, I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Hello, I'd like to report a crime. There is an illegal drug-fueled orgy happening right now at the Grand Imperial Hotel, room 502. The dispatcher's crisp voice confirmed the address, assuring me that units were already en route. I ended the call, slipped the phone back into my pocket, and leaned against the textured wallpaper of the corridor. Through the heavy oak door of room 502, the muffled sounds of my wife's infidelity continued to bleed into the quiet hallway. It was a sickening symphony of skin, laughter, and breathless commands. A week ago, it might have broken me. Today, it was nothing more than the background score to my final act. I stepped back into my own room, 504, leaving the door cracked just enough to maintain a clear line of sight to the hallway. I checked my watch. 9:42 a.m. Victoria's Country Club was only 10 minutes away, and if I knew my mother-in-law, she would break every traffic law in the city to save her precious daughter from the imaginary kidnappers I had just invented. The police, however, were faster. Less than 5 minutes later, the distinct, heavy thud of tactical boots echoed from the stairwell. I watched through the crack in my door as 4 officers in tactical gear moved swiftly down the hall. They didn't bother with the hotel management's master key. When a 911 call reports an active, drug-fueled situation with potential hostages, a little embellishment on my part to guarantee a rapid response. They don't knock politely. Police! Open the door! The lead officer bellowed, his fist pounding against the wood of 502. The moans inside cut off instantly. A heavy, panicked silence fell over the room, followed by the frantic sound of glass shattering and muffled cursing. Breach! The heavy ram hit the door dead center. Though it splintered with a deafening crack, the lock giving way instantly. The officers surged inside, their voices booming over the sudden, chaotic screams of 6 terrified young men and 1 very naked, very panicked wife. And where I can see them. On the ground. Get on the damn ground. Wait. No. Do you know who I am? That was Mia, her voice shrill, stripped of its usual manipulative sweetness. Get off me. I haven't done anything wrong. Ma'am, keep your hands visible. Drop the bag. I smiled, taking a sip of the complimentary bottled water I had opened earlier. I had known these boys wouldn't come to a party without bringing their own chemical enhancements. I had carefully vetted Mia's little harem over the past few months. Friday and Monday had extensive histories of possession. The drugs were guaranteed. I just provided the venue. Just then, the elevator down the hall chimed. The doors slid open, and Victoria practically fell out. She was wearing her pristine tennis whites, a diamond tennis bracelet glittering on her wrist, her face pale with terror. Trailing closely behind her was her older brother, Richard, the CEO of their family's massive real estate empire. And, to my absolute delight, 2 other wealthy socialites Victoria had clearly dragged away from their morning mimosas in her panic. Perfect. An audience. I threw my door open and rushed out into the hallway, my face perfectly contorted into a mask of frantic devastation. Victoria. Richard. I yelled, running toward them. Ethan. Victoria grabbed my arms, her perfectly manicured nails digging into my skin. Where is she? Where's my baby? Are the kidnappers still inside? We brought security. I, I don't know. I stammered, my voice breaking flawlessly. I got a tip she was being held here. I called the police as soon as I heard the screams. They just went in. Richard puffed his chest out, his face red. Good God, man. We have to get her out. Who would dare target our family? Sir, you need to step back, an officer at the door barked, holding a hand out to stop Richard from barging into the room. I am Richard Vance. My niece is in that room, being held against her will. Nobody is being held against their will, sir, the officer replied dryly. But I suggest you wait down the hall. Before Richard could argue, a pair of officers emerged from the shattered doorway. Between them, struggling and sobbing, was Mia. She was wrapped hastily in a hotel bedsheet, her bare shoulders trembling. Her expensive hair extensions were a tangled rat's nest, and her mascara had run down her cheeks in thick, ugly black streams. Behind her, a parade of humiliation followed. 6 athletic young men in various states of undress, most in just their boxers, hands zip-tied behind their backs. One of the officers was carrying a clear evidence bag containing several small baggies of white powder and a scattering of pills they had desperately tried to flush. Victoria froze. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The 2 socialite friends behind her audibly gasped, their hands flying to their mouths. Mia lifted her head. Her bloodshot eyes locked onto her mother. Then, they shifted and found me standing right beside her. For a second, her brain couldn't process it. Ethan? Mom? What? What are you doing here? Mia. Victoria whispered, her voice trembling. What is this? Ethan said you were kidnapped. He said you were in danger. Mia's gaze darted between me, her mother, and the zip-tied male models shuffling behind her. The cognitive dissonance was breaking her in real time. She realized, in that horrifying instant, that there was no kidnapping. There was no danger. There was only me, watching her burn. Mom, it's not what it looks like. Mia shrieked, struggling against the officer's grip. Ethan, tell them, it's a misunderstanding. I took a step back, letting my hands fall to my sides. I looked at her, channeling every ounce of betrayal and heartbreak a loving husband should feel. I let a single, pathetic tear well up in my eye. Mia, I choked out, my voice thick with manufactured grief. I flew back early to surprise you. I thought you were in trouble. Who are these men? You told me you were at home. You lying bastard. Mia screamed, her true colors exploding to the surface as the trap snapped shut around her. She lunged at me, the sheet slipping dangerously low, but the officers yanked her back. You set me up. You did this. Victoria slapped her. The sound echoed off the hotel walls like a gunshot. Mia's head snapped to the side, completely stunned into silence. Victoria was shaking, her face flushed with a mixture of profound embarrassment and rage. Richard looked as if he was going to have a heart attack, aggressively turning his back to shield his face from the onlookers who were now poking their heads out of other rooms, cell phones raised to record the spectacle. You disgusting, stupid girl, Victoria hissed through clenched teeth, her polished veneer entirely shattered. In a public hotel? With drugs? After we just spent millions on your wedding to fix our public image. Ma'am, step away, the officer ordered, pulling Mia forward. They're all being processed for possession of a controlled substance and solicitation. Solicitation? Mia shrieked. They're my friends. Yeah, well, a Monday over there told us you pay them for their time, the cop replied dryly. You can explain it to the judge. Let's move. I stood there in silence, playing the broken man as they marched my wife and her harem toward the service elevators. Victoria turned to me, her eyes frantic. Ethan, please. The press cannot hear about this. We will handle this quietly. You know how much we value you. We'll make this right. I looked at Victoria, the woman who had spent the last 2 years treating me like a useful idiot, a respectable prop to balance out her daughter's wild reputation. I wiped my fake tear, gave her a hollow nod, and walked away without a word. The scandal hit the internet before Mia even made bail. The cell phone footage from the hotel guests was a digital wildfire. Heiress Mia Vance's wedding week orgy was trending within hours. The Vance family stock plummeted by 20% by Monday morning. Richard was forced to step down from the board to do damage control, and Victoria locked herself in their estate, refusing to face the media storm parked outside her iron gates. As for me, I had the best divorce lawyer's money could buy, paid for, ironically, by the $100,000 apology money Mia had wired me just a week prior. The prenuptial agreement Victoria had forced me to sign before the wedding was ironclad. It was designed to ensure I got absolutely nothing of the Vance fortune if we divorced. But Victoria, in her arrogance, had insisted on a strict morality clause to ensure I wouldn't embarrass the family. If either party was caught in public infidelity or criminal acts that damaged the family's reputation, they forfeited their share of the marital assets and were subject to severe financial penalties. She had built a guillotine meant for my neck, and Mia had eagerly stuck her own head into it. 3 weeks later, the divorce was finalized in a closed arbitration room. Mia looked nothing like the smug, flawless woman who had lain on silk sheets a month ago. She looked hollowed out. Her hair was pulled back into a severe bun. Dark circles bruised the skin under her eyes, and she wore a plain gray suit that practically screamed of forced humility. She hadn't looked at me once during the entire proceeding. When the arbitrators and lawyers finally left the room to file the paperwork, it was just the two of us and Victoria, who sat rigidly at the end of the long mahogany table. "I hope you're happy, Ethan," Victoria finally said, her voice dripping with venom. "You destroyed her. You took half her trust fund. You ruined our company's quarterly earnings, and you made us a laughingstock. Over what? A foolish mistake? You could have come to me. We could have settled it." I slowly packed my documents into my leather briefcase. I snapped the locks shut, the sharp clicks echoing in the quiet room. "It wasn't a mistake, Victoria," I said quietly. "A mistake is forgetting to pick up the dry cleaning. Renting a hotel room to sleep with 6 men while your husband is away is a calculated decision." Mia finally looked up, her eyes flashing with a spark of her old entitlement. I said I was sorry. I lost everything. Are you happy now? Is your fragile male ego finally satisfied? I didn't yell. I didn't sneer. I simply reached into my breast pocket and pulled out the old, faded photograph. I walked over and placed it face up on the polished wood, right between Mia and her mother. They both looked down. It was a picture of a young girl, maybe 19 years old, with bright, hopeful eyes, holding a cheap acoustic guitar. She was smiling, unaware of how short her future would be. Victoria Fronet, confused. Mia's breath hitched, her eyes widening in a slow, dawning horror. "Who is this?" "Victoria demanded." "That," I said softly, my voice suddenly devoid of all the warmth and compliance I'd faked for 2 years, "is Lily." Mia's hand trembled as she reached for the edge of the table. "No, that's impossible." 5 years ago, I continued, pacing slowly behind Mia's chair. Lily was walking home from her night shift at a diner. She was working 2 jobs to pay for her music school tuition. She was walking the crosswalk on 4th and Elm when a drunk driver in a silver Porsche Cayenne ran a red light, doing 60. Victoria's face drained of blood. She looked from the photo to me, her pristine composure cracking. "The driver didn't even tap the brakes," I said, my voice cold, sharp, and precise. "She just kept driving." Lily died on the asphalt, choking on her own blood. "Stop," Mia whispered, tears welling in her eyes. Not fake this time, but born of genuine, primal terror. The police found the Porsche the next day, parked in a private garage. But miraculously, the footage from the intersection disappeared. The police report was heavily redacted. The detective on the case suddenly retired to a beachfront property in Florida, and a low-level chauffeur confessed to stealing the car for a joyride. He did 2 years in minimum security, while the real driver got to go to Europe for a mental health retreat. I leaned down, resting my hands on the back of Mia's chair. I lowered my face until I was whispering right next to her ear. Lily was my younger sister. A suffocating silence filled the room. Victoria looked like she was going to be sick. She stared at me, truly seeing me for the first time. Not as the compliant, easily manipulated corporate drone she thought she had handpicked to marry her wild daughter, but as a ghost. A predator that had patiently waited in her house for years. "My last name isn't Hayes, Victoria. I changed it after Lily died. I changed my hair, my career, my entire life. I spent 2 years climbing the corporate ladder at your rival's firm just to get an invitation to that charity gala where Mia and I coincidentally met. I spent another 2 years smiling at you, eating at your table, kissing the mouth of the woman who slaughtered my baby sister. You," Victoria stammered, her hands shaking violently. "You planned all of this. The wedding, everything. You thought you were buying a respectable husband to fix Mia's reputation." I smiled, stepping back. "I was just positioning myself at the control panel of your life." Mia burst into ugly, violent sobs, burying her face in her hands. "I didn't mean to. I was drunk. I was scared. Mom told me to keep driving." I looked at Victoria. I know she did. That's why I didn't just go to the police. The statute of limitations on vehicular manslaughter hasn't expired, but I knew money would protect you in court. So, I took the money first. I tapped the photograph on the table. I took your reputation. I took your company's stock. I took half of Mia's trust fund. But we aren't quite finished yet. Victoria swallowed hard, trying to regain some semblance of her matriarchal authority. What else do you want? You've ruined us. What more is there? Oh, Victoria, you don't get it. I picked up the photo of my sister and carefully slid it back into my pocket. Yesterday, while you were busy trying to stop the bleeding in your stock prices, I forwarded a very interesting package to the district attorney, the FBI, and the New York Times. Victoria stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. What package? The original dashcam footage from the silver Porsche, I smiled. It took me 3 years and a lot of money to track down a mechanic you paid to destroy the car's internal hard drive. Turns out he made a backup. Blackmail insurance, I suppose. I bought it from him for 100 grand. The exact amount Mia so graciously wired me last week. Mia let out a strangled wail, sliding out of her chair and collapsing onto the floor, her hands clutching at the carpet. Victoria couldn't even speak. She slumped back into her chair, her eyes vacant, her empire crumbling to ash in her mind. Obstruction of justice, bribery, accessory to vehicular manslaughter. She was going to spend the rest of her life in a federal penitentiary, and Mia would be right in the cell next to her. I picked up my briefcase. The weight in my chest, a heavy, suffocating block of iron I had carried for 5 long years, finally evaporated. "I'll leave you to it, ladies," I said, walking toward the heavy oak doors. "Ethan!" Mia screamed from the floor, crawling toward me, her hands reaching out in pathetic desperation. "Please, please, I loved you. Doesn't that mean anything? I really loved you." I paused with my hand on the brass doorknob. I looked back at the woman I'd called my wife, lying on the floor in her expensive suit, stripped of her pride, her wealth, and her future. "You don't know what love is, Mia," I said quietly, "but you're about to learn what justice is." I opened the door and walked out into the bright, crisp afternoon sun. For the first time in 5 years, I could finally breathe.